It can't be boring. So we're going to move on to Gamer Chat now. Anyway, if you guys want links to everything, you're going to have to wait till the end of the video before they go up on screen. But here is a link to the Ping Zero website, just in case you didn't get that and you want to go and check it out. Again, it's a big LAN happening up in Auckland at the Trust Arena. So if you don't know about it yet, go check it out. It's going to be awesome. Moving on to Gamer Chat. This is a segment of the podcast that we're going to separate. It's going to be 2 parts uploaded onto YouTube, where we just talk about gaming in general. We come up with topics before the date, and then we just see, how much people want to talk about it, what's going on, that kind of thing. And I'm going to be first up just because I'm me, and also I got my first topic in first because that's cool. Just talking about social gaming in general in New Zealand, where it's going, where it's at, and where it's been. And of course, LANing is a huge, huge part of that. We've seen Ping Zero running for, it was 12 years, eh? 12
right.
years.
Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah,
12 years, man. Yep.
That is just insane. I can imagine somebody sleepless nights just dying. But yeah, I've started up. Sorry, not started up. I took over from Tara for the University of Auckland Video Game Club, putting on events and getting people social. We had Byron putting on bar crafts, and that started getting people social. Starting up the video game viewing of esports kind of scene in bars. It was a lot of fun. We got a whole lot of LANs going on, and there are actually a whole lot of social gatherings. We'll talk about that a bit later in Ingress. But for games that just join people like Ingress, which is a GPS sort of tracking hack game, it's an interesting thing. Kier will explain. We'll talk about it. But people getting together and gaming in New Zealand is starting to become a really huge thing, and it's a great way for gaming, I think, to show people out there who aren't necessarily into gaming or even who demonize gaming that gaming is a social thing. It's a thing that connects people, and there's a big aspect of that where people got into gaming because they were a bit socially inept or they weren't as comfortable. Maybe whether they weren't in an environment where they were making many friends. Gaming got them into an environment where they could meet people that were like them, that felt like them, that they could talk to, that made it easy. It's not all like that. I'm just saying that can be a big part of it. But I just feel we're getting into that in a big way, and people are starting to realize how big gaming is and how different it is from the other entertainment mediums about getting people together and having them experience competition and stories and gameplay and all of that kind of thing and interaction. Especially, how gaming can be very, very, I can't think of the word for it, not intrusive, but immersive, basically. They get you into the moment, into the experience, and that's what gaming's doing socially these days. I mean, it's obviously coming into a huge scene with the MMO kind of games, MOBAs and RPGs and such. That has been a little bit for WoW when it was back in the days. But yeah, what do you guys think about social gaming in New Zealand, where it's going, and how it's been, and how it's affected your life? No takers.
Just an open question then?
Complete open question.
I don't know. I guess the very first real LAN that I had, which I guess if we're not including things like, getting together with your friends for split screen console gaming, but actual full-on computer LANs, actually tied in with the first time I actually got drunk, so whoops. But yeah, that was for someone's birthday, and we all had computers there. We played, the old Diablo 2, Age of Empires 2, and it was just a whole lot of fun. Fueled a little bit by alcohol, but the core aspect of it being a LAN was just so much fun as well. And I got introduced to a whole lot of new games as well, which was I think a really important aspect of LANing these days as well, and social gaming. I was already friends with a lot of the people there, so that meeting new people wasn't a part of that one. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun there as well, and I think that's also the first time I saw someone actually playing World of Warcraft, and I was just so shocked at the size of the game, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my experience at my first LAN ever.
Wicked. Hey, Kia, how did you sort of get into going out to bar crafts and everything?
Well, yeah, that's I just sort of found out about it on Facebook. A friend of mine's like, "Oh, you're a bit of a StarCraft nut. How about you check this shit out?" And I saw it and didn't go to the first one.
We're totally not going to bleep that, by the way.
I didn't go to the first one, but I went to the second one, which was at night, and it was just awesome. It was just packed. It was crowded. People were screaming about what was going on screen. All the Marines splitting and all that sort of crap, and all the siege tanks going up and battling off against each other, and just the drinks flowing. I know Havoc loves that sort of thing, and it was just unreal, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't realize that gaming was getting like that, because I sort of came from a background where gaming wasn't a big thing, and so to see that, I was feeling way more comfortable and just was like, I want to be part of this. And I just kept saying, yeah, I'll give you a hand, I'll give you a hand. And eventually they put me on the front desk. But the first time I got into gaming, I guess, would be as a kid. My old man loved his computer and just played Test Drive and Space Invaders and all that sort of thing. And then we eventually got 2 computers, so played Red Alert LAN and Warcraft 2 LAN as well. And just sort of came from there. And now I'm here. We're in APoG and trying to promote social gaming.
Hell yeah to social gaming. I mean, I agree with you with the whole background thing, where gaming is sort of looked down upon, and that is, I think it's made a lot of us very defensive when we talked about when we talk about gaming to people who don't understand or don't embrace gaming as much as we do. I don't know. I do tend to get quite defensive because I just don't know how they're meant to react. I mean, a lot of them from my younger years just they completely disrespected gaming. They didn't understand it. Have you guys had to deal with that? Like, how have you dealt with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I've dealt with this a lot. More on the esports sort of thing. And I have like daily arguments about this with my girlfriend as well. She doesn't think video games are a real sport because they're not physical. And
a mental sport.
Yeah.
It's a mental.
Yeah, I know. And I can sort of see where that comes from as well. But like when people are just shocked at, I show them crowds like for, say, the League of Legends World Championship, the huge crowd filling a stadium. And they're just like, what are these people doing? How do they, do they have no lives? Why are they going to watch a video game? And I just simply ask them, how is this different from going and watching a big rugby game? How is this different from watching baseball?
Exactly.
And, it's just the only difference is that, there's physical activity involved. And, it's kind of, I can see how they can see that. But, there's so much about gaming that can be competitive. You can really get behind, your home teams or your favorite teams. That really gets you like just so excited and into it. And yeah, did you have something you want to say, Major?
That's pretty interesting
Kevin.
what you're saying about esports, because before, my experience with esports was before I really knew about it. I was kind of introduced to it the same way. Someone I knew was really into esports, and I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was kind of indifferent about it. But when I saw, just how big it really was, that kind of really opened up esports to me. So it's really interesting that different people kind of have different takes on what they get out of seeing when they discover esports. You've said that your girlfriend still doesn't really think it's much of a thing, even though you've tried to show her. My personal experience was that I was really, really impressed by it. So it's pretty interesting.
Just considering,
Yeah,
I think it's all about
stats
balance.
is a huge improvement for the esports scene. But yeah, sorry, Kia.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue in the past has been about balance, and gamers typically haven't shown that balance of what they do. It's all well and good to sit at your computer for like 6 hours and play a game, but if you're doing that every day, that isn't actually healthy, and that's where there's a real perception from many people as they see a gamer. So what they see is a guy in glasses with a headset, and he's fat as anything, and that's just what they perceive a gamer to be. Where in reality, a lot of gamers these days,
They're actually
they're
really
even
thin.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually some top-level athletes
some
which
of
are just
us
full-on
are.
gamers. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And some of the people that are going to like argue with you and say, you video gamers, you just sit at your computer all day. Like a lot of them are just sitting in front of the TV all day. And like a lot of them these days are also, they're playing their Facebook games all day. So it's like even worse. Well, not worse in that sense, but they're still playing Facebook games.
I'm not a gamer. See all their updates of Candy Crush coming on Facebook. Oh, that's
exactly.
a game.
And there's nothing wrong with spending all day playing Candy Crush if that's your thing. Like I'm not going to hold it against you, but don't bag gamers and pretend you're not one if you're going to do that.
It's interesting to with regards to social gaming. If you look at where the industry is taking social quotation mark gaming, with even if you're looking at the casual market now, they want you to post Candy Crush on Facebook. They want you to spread it out to all your friends. They want you to let people know about it. You look at stuff like PlayStation Network and like Xbox Live. The industry is pushing for a more social aspect to gaming, and that's really what I find quite interesting about the gaming in general at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And actually, great timing, Major. That was brilliant. Welcome back.
Yep. Now, welcome back. Yeah, good old dodgy internet out in the middle of Helensville there. So yeah. Are we still on the same question, or we moved on?
Yeah. I was just gonna quickly. Oh, sorry. Whoops. Turn up a mic there. I was quickly gonna ask you, like, what was it growing up for, like, with gaming for you? Because you're a whole lot older than a lot of. I don't want to say like. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna.
No,
stop.
I'm old. Yes, I'm old. Yeah, I'm old. No. Yeah. We basically put it this way, man. We play video games, and after a couple of hours, you get bored because the games, to be honest, were pretty one-dimensional. They weren't exciting, and whereas today, man, like the games are so in depth. They have storylines and like the multiplayer aspect, and to go watch a rugby game, and don't get me wrong, that those guys train hard, but man, to see some of the dexterity of some of these dudes playing StarCraft and playing LoL, playing Dota, and like especially when you're playing it, because you can play the game, anyone can play those games, and then you can actually respect the key presses that they're doing, the combinations that they're doing. It makes you respect it a lot more. And sure, I'll throw in a rugby ball around, and I know I'm never going to be great at it, but we're on the crest, eh? Like New Zealand is so far behind. They've got no idea what esports are. They've got no idea what commentators are, and there are sponsors banging on doors going, what's happening with New Zealand? Australia's on the wave. New Zealand is still so lagging behind, and hence the reason why I'm throwing everything at it, because someone's got to step up and ensure that we don't get left out. Are we ever going to represent at WCG again? Who knows? That's not really where I want to go. I just enjoy gaming, and I enjoy spending with people, and esports is awesome. I've never been to a Barcraft, but I watch a crap load of Dota, because I'm obviously a Dota 2 player, but I can respect those guys' abilities, and it's for people to say, the stereotypic big fat dude that sits in a corner and scared of the light, those are gone. People that play games come from all walks of life, and a lot of that's probably come down to, I'm not going to go on about mobile games and there's silly bird game that's just been banned and stuff, but it's a great introduction, and things like the consoles like Wii and stuff, and PlayStation Move and Kinect, it's basically bringing it into to everyone, and it's becoming socially accepted. When I gamed, like, it was a dirty dark secret. Like, we land in garages because we didn't want people knowing that we did it, and even to this day, a lot of people don't know about what the event I run, because I only talk to this to people that actually are interested, because a lot of people just go, oh, you game, and they just look at you as if it's like some dirty hobby, but it's not. It's actually a real fun, and the people you meet are awesome. Okay, I'll better stop talking because we're going to run out of time. Thanks again, Theo.
That's all good. I completely agree with what you're saying, but as we grow, I mean, we saw it with Barcraft. TV3 News actually got in on that and did a piece on Barcraft, and I'm sure as these lands grow, we're going to see pieces from news and media putting into lands, seeing how engaging they are, seeing what esports is like, and people getting prizes, people competing and working as a team, things like that. It'll be interesting to see. But we will move on. Come to think of it, just in case, for lack of time. Kia, Ingress, what's up?
Oh, well, Ingress, man, it's a social game. It really is. If you want to actually get quite powerful and up there, and it's a game it's a mobile game, and it uses your GPS, and it's all about locations. So it uses Google Maps, and you walk around and you're looking for these things called portals, and what you want to do is you want to capture them, and to capture them you got to have items, and to get items you have to hack portals to actually be able to power them up or take them down or modify them. And the whole point is to make fields and links, and to one team is basically the good guys, and they're all about closing down these portals.
Resistance.
And that's the resistance. Yep, as you well know.
Close-minded.
and the enlightened who want to actually use it to control human minds. Basically, if you ever wanted to look into getting into it, you should check out the Ingress Intel, and it will give you the world map, and it's just unreal as to what's been covered. And just look up Niantic operations, and you can see these massive mega fields which will cover Europe, Russia, major parts of China, all that sort of stuff, and it's unreal. And again, the only way to do it properly is to work as a team, because it rewards teamwork by limiting the amount of powerful items you can put on one portal by yourself. And there are communities out there that are just working together to make this come together. I got into it, and the first day I actually got into it, I think I was playing it from 6 at night till about 5 in the morning. Took me an hour to get home from Onehunga to Te Atatu.
Hold on, so you were like walking around your own town the whole night?
Yeah, I was walking around Onehunga, and then I drove out to the museum, and then drove back to Onehunga, and then I drove home, and it just took forever. It was
That's
awesome.
so cool.
Yeah, and yeah, go on.
It's awesome, mate. Like I've actually played this game a lot as well, and because you could get it on a legit iPhone because it's Android developed by Google, yeah, and some guys have managed to put it onto iPhone, and exactly the same, man. I hooked it into it, and I was like, sweet, and all of a sudden I'd lived in Canberra. This is in the last my last 2 months in Canberra, and I'd lived there for 3 years, right? Holy crap, there were all these wicked bits of art that I'd never seen. It takes you to like where these portals are things that are just bits of, and like, we'd walk around this lake, and there were these bits of art that were behind trees that we'd never seen, and I'd walk past them, I won't say a million because it's exaggeration, hundreds of times, and the beauty about Canberra, it's quite a arty-farty town, so there was hundreds of them within all of a sudden I went for a bit of a walk, and I came back like 4 hours later. It's phenomenal, and also there's a fantastic portal just outside of Trust Arena as well at Gate 2 where the big so that
spiral
so we should
down when I was at 2-0.
You are enlightened, aren't you? You are enlightened.
No, I am Resistance actually.
Oh no! Okay, I'm going to step it up.
He's going to step it up. Actually, I've disowned 2 friends for picking Enlightened since I introduced them to this.
I have actually turned a couple of people back to Resistance from Enlightened.
Yeah!
I am.
People are going, what are these guys talking about? Check it out. It is fun, man. It is really fun, eh? Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
It takes you on a journey. It really does. You find yourself, I'll just do this. I'll go for a walk and just do this quick. And suddenly you're like, how am I 10 Ks from home? Because you followed the portals. Oh, that's only 500 meters of the road. Oh, that's only a minute walking or something. And then suddenly you're just like, I have no idea where I am. I'm seeing these amazing sculptures, buildings, whatever. In these out of the way places, like go to Butterfly Creek. There's a sculpture walk out just beside Butterfly Creek. You can't see it from the road. Amazing sculptures in there. Awesome walk, and no one knows about it because the only way I know about it is because it showed up as a cluster of portals, and I'm like, that's a good place to farm.
Yep, yeah, that's the beauty about it, eh? All of a sudden, you've lived in, I don't know how long you guys lived in Auckland and stuff, but all of a sudden you're walking around, it's like, and the funny thing is when you start doing it, you're looking around and seeing if anyone else is around doing it as well. It's kind of funny. I like it because it's edgy. I love it. It's here I am, 40, still enjoying playing games.
Have you heard of this term, the Ingress shuffle? You'll see someone on their phone and they'll go one way and then they'll go the other, and they're trying to get the most perfect point to power up a portal because you want to be further away as possible so that it's not easy to take down. And then suddenly you'll find when you're trying to take down a portal that it's not going down, and so you're looking around for the other guy. And suddenly you see a group of them, and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going? And you're like, oh, crap. It's just this huge battle going on. People you've never met.
So, like, does it happen often when you randomly see people?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah. Theo and I were just walking through Auckland City, and I was taking down a place, and I was like, oh, this place isn't going down at all. I think there's someone nearby. And then we came across an Enlightened agent, and he said, oh, you must be Crash Ghost. You're the guy that causes all the problems out West Auckland. So I was like, oh, crap, am I that well known?
Yeah.
You get a couple of infamous people, do you, in the game?
Was that?
Well known, then. Do you get a few infamous people?
Infamous?
There are a lot of infamous bastards.
There's a couple of guys that are well known in the Enlightened side, and that's called, he's 130 Spectre and Nicky G, and those guys, they don't stop ever. They'll go like every single day till 4 a.m. in the morning trying to keep the city. It's a big ego thing. It's quite amusing. But they also travel all around Auckland. Like in the weekends, they'll be doing 100 Ks just to get these massive fields made just by linking up 3 portals so you can create a field. And then we've got a couple of our own.
It's a true resistance. We're fighting back and we're weakened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's changing now, though. I got a friend involved, Draconius, and he is a real battle leader, and he's he's organising cells now, which is way more effective. We've always had cells, but we've never properly formulated them and sort of carried them out. But he's really come in and and the fields are starting to get a bit more organised. But there's tons of things like dual encounters, which are an issue. There's an enlightened agent who has a partner who is resistance, and that partner's sole purpose is to block our links by creating their own links.
Oh, that's what's been happening. That's the guy who's blocked my Remura links. Damn it! I have to use
I think it is,
what
actually.
is it?
Boy George. Boy George is the problem.
Oh God. Oh God, yeah, if you didn't know, the links that you can create between portals in the game can be blocked if there is already a link there. So you can essentially block entire teams from creating links if you're on their team, and you can, it's evil. It's a plot.
So you kind of like, it's kind of like a traitor on your side in a way.
Yeah,
Sort of, yeah.
Little insurgent.
There's a term, it's called wind trading, basically. And it is kind of illegal, I think, and this is what this person is doing, but because it's two different people, it's not. And there are people also with dual accounts, so that they could be powering up portals better, so they can get like a level 6 portal, as 2 level 8 agents can make a level 6 portal. 3 level 8s can make a level 7 portal, but you need 8 level 8 agents to make a level 8 portal, which is where the teamwork comes in. And you need higher level portals to go to link further, but also to get better items.
Yeah, it's a very deep and complex and meaningful game. But the point is, it gets people joining together and coming together in groups and trying to achieve a specific goal in the real world. It gets them out and engaging with the real world and walking around the real world to discover all of these brilliant places. They go to a portal and hack it. They've discovered a new piece of art or a museum or something that they can experience. It's brilliant. And they have these group dinners and things as well that get people together, which is really awesome. Kia met a family, Yeah,
there's a family out there. I can't remember. I know his name was Simon, the father, and it's him and his wife and his 2 kids. They're all level 8 by now, and they're enlightened. And it's just hilarious. It's like, this is unreal, like oh yeah, they said the legal age to play the game has changed, so their kids are now involved. And we had a cross-faction dinner and I met them, and it was just unreal, the sort of things that go on. Also, there are people out there that do GPS spoofing, which is faking your GPS location, which is totally illegal in the game as well. And you can actually
get a couple of things against it, though.
Oh yeah, there's some things, like if you don't root your phone, it's not going to work.
Yeah. One last thing before we move on to this is that I want to say one of my mates getting into this is using it as an exercise regime. He's figured out a path for himself between home and work and other places where he can run and on the way take down portals, build them back up, create links, and get mine units, the resource in the game for his team effectively. And he just runs around constantly all day doing this, and he's set himself on like this little fitness regime that works with the game. It's really, really cool. But we're going a little overtime on that little topic.
The great thing about it though, Theo, is that you do meet new people if you put yourself out there. And I was just like, oh bugger, I want to meet some new people. And different people too, like compared to other gamers that I've dealt with a lot recently, these people are completely different. And obviously there are a lot of the same people as well, but you just meet a broader type of person, I guess, through Ingress, because the age sort of is a lot gap is a lot bigger between players, and sort of the median age. You have people that are like 50 that are playing, and then you got people that are like 17 or 18 that are playing or whatever. And it all sort of makes it interesting, and everyone works together to make it work.
It's interesting that also ties back to social gaming a bit, how, you mentioned you're meeting different people, especially people that you wouldn't normally meet as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
meet some interesting and different people.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we're moving on now to, I believe it is Matt's topic, MMORPG Evolution. It's just got MMO Evolution on the screen there, but he's mainly talking about MMORPG Evolution. So just let us know a little bit of context. What's going on?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you guys all know what an MMORPG is, but I'll just briefly, tell you. It's pretty obvious, but it's a mix of the genres of RPG and MMO. So, basically you've got your role-playing game where you're a character, you level up, you progress, you get new abilities, you get gear, and then it throws you into a big, massively multiplayer online game. So you're in this big new world. There are people all around you, and you can interact with them all. And that's the core idea of what an MMORPG is. And these have been around for a long time, like before. Everyone thinks World of Warcraft. People jokingly say it's the first MMO. Ironically, but there have been things a long time before that, and some of the earlier ones were. I think the first one to use the actual term MMORPG was Ultima Online. That was in 1997. Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah. And it moved on from there. So, games like EverQuest 1 and 2 came out, Asheron's Call, and then, of course, World of Warcraft came out. Where did you guys start? If you have played MMOs, where did you begin?
I'll go first, man. I stayed away from that crack, bro. Like I knew that stuff. I had mates that I had mates that played a lot of WoW, and I don't know whether they're still on, but yeah, man. Like it was. They said don't start it. It all basically they were basically ditching, like going out drinking with mates and stuff, and they like WoW was one of those ones that they just kept going, because you do those raids with a whole lot of mates, and it's social online, but yeah, a lot of them just ended up having to uninstall it because they said, holy crap, they lost girlfriends and stuff like that. I was like, wow. And so and then of course they sort of go, oh hey, and then all of a sudden they started giving away, oh, you can do the first 10. They sort of try and, it's like crack, they try and hook you on that stuff as well. So I stay well away from. I enjoy gaming, but the beauty about like LoL and Dota is that you can just go do a 40, but depending on how good or crap you are, half an hour and it's all over. Whereas WoW, you've got to keep going and keep going. You go, oh damn, I really need to, I want this item, I need this item, so yeah.
Like I can understand that too.
I think I agree with you on that one. Like, it's really interesting. Like, RuneScape, I think, was one of the first MMOs that I came into contact with. I didn't really play it, and then you had the whole WoW wave with everyone that I knew started playing WoW. But I don't think I didn't really ever get into it. But the interesting about it, as you really said already, is basically everyone tells you to stay away from it. All my friends who played it told me to stay away from it, but they still played it non-stop. It's just really fun. Like,
don't look at me, man. Don't judge me. Don't judge me, man. I think RuneScape would be one of the first games that I came across. I was one hell of a wood chopper. Because that's and that. But I think Diablo, I say you could loosely call that an MMO as well. I played a lot of that. A hell of a lot of Diablo 2, even Diablo 1.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
But yeah, I was the same. I was like, you know what? I know what I'm like. I will be a crack whore, and I will look skinny and disheveled at the end of this. Going, I just need more credits to get more WoW time,
as opposed to food and love, and life.
So I'm like Conrad. I'm just like, nah, I can't get involved in that.
Yeah.
You have interesting. I don't know if you probably have heard of stories, but there's a lot of interesting stories about what happens in sort of these MMORPGs, especially WoW, where you have, people meeting each other and getting married and that kind of stuff, and that to me is really super interesting because it really breaks down what you thought was possible. Yeah, exactly, it does happen. Which is why it's really quirky that MMORPGs can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's actually this is a big thing that I want to introduce to people is the fact that things in life, they're all good and they're all bad in different levels and ways. WoW has brought a lot of people from around the globe together. It's created economies, it's created jobs, it's created friendships, marriages. It has destroyed a lot of families as well. But so does watching TV, so does crack, so does a lot of stuff out there in the world. Drinking too much water can destroy a family. You don't know.
I personally think
crazy
Coronation Street destroys a lot of families. I'd agree with that.
I can third that, but that's my whole point. Too much of anything can destroy anyone and in any kind of relationship. It depends how you go about it. It's just people attracted to addictive activities that can get affected by it and that need that sort of guidance. And that's what we want to bring to gaming as part of aspect of gaming. We want to make sure these types of games that are evolving into these bloodsuckers, and that have been actually for a very long time, but are perfecting the formula in upcoming MMOs, just to show people how you can moderate that and control it while still having a really enriching time building on your own life as well as the life of others.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of a point of view that needs to be shown to a lot more people. It just needs to be advertised a whole lot more. That, you know, it's changing as well, the genre. It's not so addicting anymore because, like you say, when it's still addictive. It's still a lot of fun, but like you said before, when you prefer the LoL and Dota style where you can just jump into a game 30, 40 minutes, you know, it's over. Whereas like a few years ago in WoW, you'd be raiding for, you know, 3-4 hours or something like that, and that could happen several times a week, like over the nights. But you know, it's changing now. There's a lot more to do in the game than just doing 3 to 4 hour raids. You know, you can jump into a battleground, you can jump into, you know, one of the new zones, or one of the new features that are coming out in MMOs. It's been brought out like over the last few years. Dynamic events. You know, you can just run around the zones, and you know, a bunch of goblins are going to attack the town, and you got to defend the town. Otherwise, you know, that town gets sacked and wrecked. And you know,
Rift is fantastic with that.
Yeah, Rift was actually the first MMO that I experienced it. And I think Warhammer Online kind of did it before Rift. I'm not sure which one came first, but they had public quests. But in Rift, yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I remember going to that, and I'd been playing WoW for a few years before that. And, you know, I went into that, and the first zone I went into, I just see this big dark purple portal in the sky, and like all these dark elementals coming out. And I was like, wow, is that going to happen all over the place? And, you know, it's kind of one of the new things that's coming out that makes it so it's not so, you know, you don't have to dedicate such a huge chunk of your time to have fun in this new genre.
Dailies.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into dailies.
Yeah.
I want to mention, like, that really says something about the industry as well, and, well, not only that, but how gamers are sort of changing, how the audience is sort of changing, where people want these quicker, faster-paced, more easily digestible bits of action that you get in games. So, you know, as you said, we're moving away from the 3-4 hour raids and moving into really short sessions now, and yeah, I think that's the general direction the audience of gaming is kind of going as well.
I think it's time as a factor, is that gamers, they want a game, but they don't want to dedicate, you know, their lives to it and such. They want to go out and do other things. They want to have physical contact with people as well, not just sit in front of the computer.
There's also ease of access, I believe, because if you're going to go for, you know, a raid, you know that you're going to be there for a while. I think the ease of access of quicker action, you know, with smaller events, is definitely a lot more attractive to people.
Yeah, that's true. And like another thing is, you know, the pay models, like how you pay for the game, because a lot of the original ones used, you know, you're pay to play, you buy the game, and then you pay a subscription monthly. So with things like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14 and 11, EVE Online, you know, you pay subscriptions. And when you're doing that, you think, well, you know, I'm paying for it. I better use my time to play the game more. And, you know, that's also adding to the, you know, people just spend all day playing that game.
Yeah, that's the addiction, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. But like you see more games moving into the free-to-play style, even just the buy-to-play like Guild Wars 2 did. Like a lot of the free-to-play games nowadays, a lot of them used to be pay-to-play. You know, they had subscriptions, but partially because, you know, they weren't as popular and, you know, they needed more people to come in and use their, I guess, in-game shops is how they support themselves in advertising. But, you know, things like Rift and Star Wars Online, Terra, they used to be subscription-based, and now they're free-to-play. You could jump into them right now if you wanted to. You know, I could give you the obligatory, don't play it, you'll get addicted.
I never got that. For some reason, the one core element in MMORPGs, the whole grinding aspect, is the one element that keeps me from ever being addicted. I've played WoW till level 80. I have, and I'll admit that. But I never once got hooked on it. You know, I'd just come home, I'd do a quest or two just to level up, and then I'd go do something else. It was weird. I didn't get hooked on it. The grinding kept me really, really bored. I just had to leave.
Yeah, I found the same thing, especially with WoW. I did get into Star Wars: The Old Republic for a bit, but actually played that more like a single-player RPG than an MMO.
Yeah.
And that was, again, because I just didn't have the time to dedicate to it, especially in summer. I hardly play games through the summer. I might do a few hours a week, and that's it, because it's just too hot. But, yeah, I just never really got that getting addicted thing.
People definitely look at the grind part of the game. People look at it a lot differently. So, some people, probably for you, Theo, I kind of get that as well, is that when you see a grind, it's really frustrating. It seems really tedious for some other people, though. There's a real reward that they get from grinding, and so that's
the progression from leveling and things. Yeah, it's gamification, and that's understandable. And that was really satisfying. I do agree. And I think a lot of things that hook people into the game outside of the grinding is the fact that they create a little microcosm of society within their own world, and they have to interact with that.
Also,
that's part of the
addiction. Also living out of fantasy, I think. Like, you're creating an avatar and you're living out a bit of fantasy, and I think that's part of the attraction to it as well.
Yeah, there's so many little crack addicting sort of elements.
It seems like an infinity loop, really grinding to me. And I played Diablo 3 for the story. Not much of a story, but because I'd gone through every other iteration of it, and so I was just like, I'll give Diablo 3 a crack. But I played through the story and a little bit through the next level of hardness, and I'm like, nah, this just isn't for me, grinding.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing. Played through the normal difficulty and then a bit through the next one. I was like, I've already played the game. I don't want to play it again.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
That's when
it's a story-driven game.
Yeah, that's when it starts to feel like grinding. I think when the reward is really great is when games sort of do grinding correctly. I don't really like to say it, because I think grinding in general is kind of like a tool that is used to keep people playing the game, but some developers have done well with how they make the grind, and they make it so it's rewarding enough that you keep playing, but it's not so tedious that it just pushes you away.
And story integration, you're getting items and stuff like that as well. It's an interesting little concept to focus on. But we will quickly move on to free-to-play Revolution. That's your little topic there, Kev. We'll stray away from the whole MMO Evolution thing. We do. I think we've got a lot to say on it. We might save it for another time. It's very interesting. It's a very progressive topic because it's so large. But introduce us to. There was a bit of crossover there before as well, actually. But introduce us to what you're talking about with free-to-play Revolution.
Also, I was a bit tempted to just do a bit of a crossover from that, but we kind of touched up on it, and I like that we had the MMO discussion first, because it kind of touches base on where the model of payment is going at the moment. And Matt mentioned a lot of MMOs started out pay. You buy the game, and maybe there's a subscription as well. You got games like Guild Wars, maybe you buy the game, there's not really a subscription. You got WoW, which is heavily subscription based, and then you see the progression moving towards the whole free-to-play going on here. The first free-to-play, my first experience, my first really important experience, I'll say, the biggest impact that free-to-play has had on me, I played TF2 competitively, so when they turned that into free-to-play, it was really, for me, the biggest impact on the free-to-play kind of market, the free-to-play style of the payment model, because generally you look at the subscription base, you look at the free-to-play, you're thinking mainly MMORPGs here, but now you've got an FPS game that has gone free-to-play, and beyond that, now you've got an evolution of free-to-play games going to all genres. It's just spreading across every single genre that you can pretty much think about. You've got your MOBA games, you've got your LoL and your Dota, they're free-to-play. The new, you got Hearthstone coming out from Blizzard, online card game, basically Magic the Gathering. That's going to be free to play. You've got a bunch of different genres. You look on Facebook, you look on, the Android Play Store, you look on the iTunes Store. A lot of free to play games. It's really interesting. That for me anyway, since where TF2 has gone from free to play, that change in the industry has happened. So it's an interesting look at where the industry is going. I think everyone realizes that free to play at the moment is what really gets people into the game quickly. And if your model is good enough, it keeps people there, and you eventually make a lot more money off people than you would if they were just buying the
Oh
game to
god.
support.
Yeah, look at LOL. Jesus
The-
Christ.
the-
Just like
oh my
the average
goodness.
person puts in $100 to that game, where it's, if we were going on a paid subscription, or just on a pay to play thing where you just pay, I don't know, a game like that probably would go for like $30 or something on Steam, or even 10. Just thinking of but the content constantly builds. I'd say 30. So like it's not automatically buy and go. People just unload money onto these things, and it's funny to see. You touched on that, Kevin. When games are free to play, they help bring people in, and then they build an audience if they're good enough, and that really works well for gaming, especially from a community standpoint. It means we're not dealing with crap. It does mean that development of games, I think, gets hindered. It gets endangered a little bit, because people, they can't compete if they're not free to play, and they can't compete if they're free to play and they're not
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely.
So it does shut down a few
It's also very risky. It's also very risky for developers, and a very good, very close to home example, Grinding Games with their hit Path of Exile. The guys, they ran on donations, because as an indie developer, if you're going to make a free to play game, you don't have a massive publisher backing with all the money coming in. And so for a lot of indie developers, if you're going to make a free to play game, it's really hard, and you either can't make a free-to-play game, or if you are, you know that you're going to be making the game for a long time without any funding, unless you're going to go through donations.
For me, free-to-play has been fantastic, particularly with League. It got me into it because, when you think of it, games in general that are considered high quality are about $120. That's a lot of money to spend on games all the time. It's just not feasible. And when they went free to play, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll give that a crack and I'll give it a go. And if I don't like it, I'll just uninstall it, and it's no issue. And I wouldn't have spent a cent on it. And that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And it's not a demo either, usually.
Yeah, that's the level. That's just the level of investment that people have, I guess. I mean, people don't really want to invest money into a product unless they know it's going to be good. It's kind of like the try before you buy kind of thing. With free-to-play games now, you get to play the game first, and then if you like it, you can pay money for whatever's in the game that you like. But if you don't like it, you don't have to pay a single cent. You played the game, whereas the other way around, it's not so attractive. You pay first, and then you take on the risk as the consumer that you might not even like the game.
That's one of the things that kept me away from WoW, is that you got to buy the game, which was $100 to buy it or something like that, which is ridiculous. And it was like $30 a month.
Though.
Buy to play and then pay to keep playing. Was it
like $30 a
weird
month
thing,
or something?
yeah.
Or
Yeah,
but
it was
WoW
15,
kind of
it got down to
eliminates the
15.
risk. Yeah, I think it's like 17 US or something, 17 New Zealand dollars, but like it doesn't have as much risk because it does give you that trial up until like level 20, and
it does now. It never used to be up to level 20, didn't it?
No,
it was like 15
max
or something,
20.
but it was still a trial.
Yeah, like you still got a general idea of what you were going to be doing, at least for a significant well, not a significant portion, but like quite a large chunk of your time, you would be doing the leveling, which you got a pretty good idea of. And even if it is like a marketing gimmick, to get you into the game, it's still at least it's not a complete risk when you're just throwing money into the game.
At least it gave you unrestricted access to the game, which is where demos are all annoyingly wrong. I want to give that a crack. Then you get the full game. It doesn't turn out to be much better just by getting the full game.
I think WoW's a really interesting sort of overall idea, because it was the only real game that worked as you have to buy the game and then you have to pay to keep on playing it, and I think it's still viable today. It was just the way that they built content and the way that they helped out the community. They became part of the community. They still have tournaments going on for it. They've just built it so well, and the content that they created outside of the original game melded in so well. It made all of that payment worth it.
I think they also had the market at a fantastic time for them. Not so much for the consumer, but they were like, okay, people are used to already paying for games, and there is an already sort of thing with subscriptions. So let's just do that, and we'll make this amazing game. People have to pay full price for it, so they get their box all paid for and everything, and a lot of their cost paid for on the initial thing. And if people don't play it, well, they've got some money out of them. They've got a lot of money out of someone. But then they get that 17 US a month, or whatever it was, to keep playing it, and it's just like, man, cash cow.
And you got people running multiple accounts. Like I've heard of people running 4 or more accounts and paying that much per month.
That's unreal, and that's ludicrous, really. I mean, what are you going to do with that unless you're actually physically making a lot of money off it?
Yeah,
one shot people in 5s with shamans.
Yeah, I mean, you can only use one account. at a time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
Well-
it's something that people have done. I've also actually wanted to touch up on the marketing side a little bit as well. I mean, I know Matt mentioned it just slightly, but it kind of pushes into the topic of where we see free to play going in the future, and we've kind of sort of talked about it being slightly exploitative. But if you look at where some free to play games have gone already, you've got really infamous ones like Candy Crush Saga, where you have player accounts, where people are basically saying, look, I can't even progress in the game unless I pay money. It's the kind of model where you have a real dark side of the of the free to play, where it becomes pay to play essentially because you have to put money into the game, or you pretty much can't progress. It's a way. It almost becomes a really serious gimmick, and it's borderline quite exploitative.
Does the game actually change though? Does that game actually change?
I have no idea. I don't play the game personally, but there are other examples of games as well where the game it gets you hooked in just a little bit. You play for an hour or so, you get hooked in, and then to progress in the game gets so hard, the level of difficulty in the game gets hard enough that the game says, "Hey, do you want to buy some power-ups to help you progress through the game?" And it's to the point where you almost have to buy these power-ups and pay money for them in order to progress in the game, and that's when I feel it gets a bit exploitative.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's something that I wanted to talk about with free-to-play models. Is there are a lot of really, really great points to them. One of them, for me, has been getting into different genres and experiencing different types of gaming, different styles, and meeting the people that like that style. It leaves room open for you to go and try things, which is great. But one pitfall that they've been jumping into lately, but I don't think it's going to affect them too much, is the whole pay-to-win thing. But I think gamers are very, very astute to what pay-to-win games are and what they do. They tend to see a pay-to-win game and they either get involved in it to try and to pay it and see if they can beat other people who are paying to win, or they ignore it completely because they say that game is forcing me to pay to be able to play it properly. Otherwise, it's not really a free-to-play game. It's sort of a pseudo free-to-play. It tries to hook you in by being free for you to download it and try it, but not actually play.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples, especially if you look at the back to like the MMORPG scene. If you look at Asian MMOs, there's hordes and droves of those MMORPGs, and a lot of them do have pay to play as quite a definite integral part of the game. I feel a lot of games right now with the free to play model, a lot of developers are trying to quickly cash in on this model by pushing out a game and then having some of these features. And the market at the moment, I feel, is pretty well flooded with free to play games, especially quite a few pay to win games as well.
Yeah, that's another problem. There's quite a lot of content out there. How are we going to really decipher what we're going to get hooked into? And that's not necessarily bad for the players, but it's bad for the developers, and it sort of destroys their chance of. I mean, I guess they're doing it because they want to make it big with their whole in-game currency systems or whatever. But I do think it's a dangerous business to be in. It's quite risky. You don't know. I think somebody did mention that before. It's risky because you don't know whether or not it's going to hit off unless you've got the formula down to like a T. But yeah,
absolutely. Because you're investing. If you're a developer and you're making a free to play game, you're investing that time, the money, the resources into making this game, and you don't even know if it's going to be a hit or not. So it definitely is a risky venture.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to add before we close off?
No, thanks very much. Yeah, I do agree, man. It's a balance with free to play. I think Valve have done it well. I mean, I'll go from my data point of view. It was an invite-only beta test. I know people paid for it. Like, I got it for free, and the money that you spend on it, LOL's the same. I'm assuming is that you basically it's just for costumes and stuff. It doesn't actually affect the gameplay, which is an awesome balance. But yeah, games like World of Tanks where you can just like buy all that gold stuff, for me, it just ruins it. And I know it turns a lot of people off. I know guys that have been playing some of these games that are free to play. Same as the Battlefield. Battlefield did their Battlefield play for free, and that thing failed hard because it was basically pay to win, which it sort of defeats the whole purpose of it. But I did play a lot of what was the other free-to-play one they brought out? Battlefield Heroes. That's a lot of fun, but they started nerfing that a little bit with pay-to-win as well. But it's been good. It's good conversation. It's good to hear other people talking about games openly. It's fantastic. Thanks for the opportunity there, Theo. It's been great.
Not a problem. We're looking forward to PC44. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, what?
Sorry, I just wanted to throw in another point about the free-to-play things, which was, actually a few MMOs are actually moving towards the subscription base again, which is actually kind of surprising after a bunch of free-to-play things came out. So like Elder Scrolls and WildStar, they're coming out with subscriptions, and I was kind of angry at that at the start. I was like, wow, how can people do that? How can companies do that after all these free-to-play things have come out? But then I saw a comment on one of the YouTube videos, and funny place to actually get wisdom from, but it said, thanks WildStar for going for the subscription base, because now I don't have to pay for all these customization options, because they're giving you all this customization for free. There's so much customization in that game, and you don't have to pay a cent for it. You get it all because you're paying for the subscription. And I kind of like that. It's not forcing me to choose anything and then pay probably more than I would with a subscription to get more customization. You know what I mean?
Which is interesting because you have a freemium model as well, where the game is free, but there's also a premium content that you can get if you want to pay a certain price for a game. I think the freemium model is really interesting and works really well in some cases.
Yeah, that was just my small point that I really wanted to just throw in there.
Wicked. Well, I hope not too many people still listening on the podcast have fallen asleep in their chairs. So a little bit of hope there. Anyway, this podcast will be up on YouTube if you do want to view it again, and all you people viewing it from YouTube, cheers for viewing it. We're gonna bugger off now, but thanks again for joining on. Major's just disconnected once again, so I'll just say bye to him from here unless he comes back on while I'm talking. But thanks again to TD Esports and Ping Zero for being a part of APoG and being on the podcast for the first podcast. We'll see who the next person to come on the podcast is, who the next gaming community or group to join the podcast is just a little bit later. We're trying to do them monthly now. We'll see how that goes. But again, thanks to Ping Zero. Go check out Ping Zero 44 Gaming LAN coming up in Auckland. That is evolving. It's been going for 12 years now. It's really, really stepping up, and Major Havoc is just going straight in, all in there, putting all of his effort in. Thank you very, very much for coming along. We've also... Lawrence is here as well. Cheers again for joining us, Lawrence.
Hey, welcome. It's great fun.
Yeah, he's an admin from Ping Zero. Again, Conrad Major is the brainchild, basically, of it all. Links are on the screen right now. Go check out all of those links for Ping Zero, for Aspect of Gaming up there. Thermaltake AU, other sponsors, go like their page and say hi. I know, liking and all this stuff, it's a little bit hectic. But thanks for joining in for the first podcast or listening from YouTube. And we'll see you guys on podcast number 2. We're going to hopefully announce our first bar esports viewing event tomorrow. That'll hopefully as well be happening in all of the regions that we operate in: Auckland, Wellington, and Dunedin. It's going to be awesome. Check it out. APoG NZ, aspectofgaming.co.nz, --APoG NZ for Facebook. All that tasty stuff. Cheers for coming in, guys.
Sweet ass. See you later.
Good. See you guys,
Gotcha.
and see you guys watching the podcast. Good fun. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.